This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine.
And Amanda.
And tonight, we watched Vast of Night. Yeah, better than I thought it was going to be. Amanda is going to get us started with a quick summary of the movie.
So the movie takes place in a small town in New Mexico, so it's a little border town, and set in the 1950s. And our main characters are a radio DJ and a switchboard operator. And over the phone, a very strange noise comes in, and her radio DJ friend decide to investigate.
So, I have the fun facts for us tonight. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we didn't realize we were gonna be recording this today. It was a spur of the moment one, so
Very spontaneous.
Yeah. But anyway, we essentially ended up just bailing on other plans that we didn't want to do, and then we were like, let's record an episode of the podcast.
I just thought it was funny. We were just both separately thought that if the other wasn't there, we were just gonna leave right away.
Yep.
And then when we were both there, we were like, oh no.
And then we were like, but we could still leave. And so we did. Because that's what you can do when you're an adult and you got agency. But so, essentially what I'm trying to tell you guys is that I just looked up these fun facts while we were watching the movie. So they aren't quite as detailed as maybe they would have been. But maybe they are. Maybe that's all I would have found. Who's to say? Not
Nobody
us.
knows.
I'm never gonna, look for more, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so some of them I just got straight from IMDb, and then others I looked up a little bit looser than that. One that I thought was funny, the IMDb, oopsies or, mistake ones, those are always so funny to me.
People are so nitpicky.
Yes.
It's just nonsense.
I know, one of the ones that they had on there was that her glasses were wrong for that time period.
No one cares.
I know.
Who's watching this and being like, historically inaccurate clothing? Unless it's very obvious.
If you think that was bad, apparently when Amanda's mom was pregnant with her, she was a switchboard operator. Well, apparently someone else who must have also been a switchboard operator watched this, and they were like, you would not touch the metal piece with your fingers. Your fingers have destructive oils. No wonder you're hearing static on the line. I was dead.
Oy, oy, oy.
But one that I thought was funny, because this person, they really weren't saying it as, something wrong. They were, just the way they said it was funny. They were like, well, it's strictly true that geographically the radio station would begin with a K. They were like, but obviously the WOTW is an homage to War of the Worlds. Which, of course, is what was originally a novel by H.G. Wells, but probably in this instance, I'm sure that they're more so referencing the radio dramatization of it that was made popular by Orson Welles, directed and starring him, which was a 1938 radio program that allegedly caused public panic among listeners who did not know the book's events were fictional. I just read that straight from Wikipedia. Oh, the town's name, Cayuga, is borrowed from Cayuga Productions, which is Rod Serling's production company, so the production company for Twilight Zone. Which, of course, is
very Twilight Zone. This could have been an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Obvi. Would have been a good one. That's something that Amanda and I said while we were watching this, is that, I kind of wish that this had been a series instead of just a movie, because I would love to see that relationship grow between Faye and Everett.
Yeah.
The character, Everett Sloane, they said that name is also shared in another Orson Welles, Mercury Theater, and The Lady from Shanghai, and The Twilight Zone. That all those things have someone named Everett Sloane in them. Apparently.
Interesting.
The budget for this was only $700,000, which I thought was very surprising, considering.
Probably why they had so many shots that were just black.
I guess, but the other shots they did were very ambitious.
I know, they blew all the budget on the spaceships.
And whenever it's a period piece,
Yeah. It's a lot of work. You gotta get all those cars.
Yeah. Fair bit of money. This combination of these two things is my last bit of fun facts. This is loosely based on a UFO incident and a disappearance incident, two separate ones. And so the disappearance incident was in Oklahoma, and there were these 3 teenagers, 2 18-year-olds and a 15-year-old, who drove off one night to go to a basketball game or some type of sports game in a neighboring county, and were never seen ever again. Until in 2014 or so, the car that they were in was found in a lake, and all 3 of them were identified. It was really sad, because I was reading through the article right when Amanda was setting up, and I made a sad sound. She was like, what? And I was like, well, is that one of the guys, his mom, just like always thought that he was gonna come back, and so she like always made him a birthday cake on his birthday. Oh, so depressing. So that's why I told that one first, is because the other one is less depressing. I didn't want to end us on that note. I'm not trying to do a Vasta Night ending on you.
I know. So sad.
I know. But so the Kecksburg, which who knows if I'm saying that right or not, but the Kecksburg UFO incident on December 9th, 1965 in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, a like fireball was reported being seen in the sky, and not just there, but there were like 6 US states where like people reported seeing this fireball, and Canada. Mm-hmm. So astronomers basically said that it was probably a meteor bolide, which again, I don't know if I'm saying that right either, but it apparently that just means like a really bright meteor. Supposedly. It did end up falling to the ground. NASA released a statement in 2005 reporting that experts had examined fragments from the area and determined they were from a Soviet satellite.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sometimes the fear-mongering is real.
Yeah, I know.
Chinese spy balloons.
What a time it would be to be alive during the beginning of the Cold War, and just people were like literally in fear of Soviet communist invasion, like in the movie Red Dawn, but in real life.
Yes. They call it Pennsylvania's Roswell. Pennsylvania's not that far from us.
No, it's not.
And then I'm just going to show Amanda a picture, but you guys can look up a picture of it.
It's a
That's
beehive.
a model. Yeah, it does. It looks just like a beehive with some hieroglyphics on it. But like hieroglyphics if they were written by a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it was just like a scratched up beehive.
Exactly. Yep. So those are my fun facts for Vasta Night. Let's talk about scares.
Some periods of high tension. Like the part where they were in the car driving with that couple, they started listening to that creepy chanting that lady was saying, and then those people just start looking up just like she said her son did.
And he was taking so long to act.
No action.
There was another car coming, dude.
I know.
She's holding her baby sister, and she's on the side that's gonna get hit.
I know, but who knows what really happened, because they decided to take it in a weird creative direction where they just would like intermittently cut to black for a few seconds and then come back to the shot and cut to black.
Super annoying.
Didn't love that.
Yeah, it did not annoy me so much when they first started doing that, when it was like over the radio interview, mostly because I was looking at fun facts. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm sure it would have annoyed me had I not been. But when they would do it during the action parts, I would be like, whoa.
No.
Rude.
Yeah. Let me see what's happening.
Exactly. I was scared she was gonna lose her job.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She's fired. I mean,
know.
She did disappear at the end.
I know, it ended up not mattering. It's not as big of a deal when you lose your job when you're gone forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's really pales in comparison to the utter devastation your mother's going to go through when she finds out that you and your baby sister have both vanished.
I know, that poor mother. If she had just left her baby sister with that friend.
I know.
Poor Maddie.
Run around with that baby.
I guess at least now she gets to have Everett forever, which is clearly what she wanted.
But who knows what the aliens are going to do to them?
Also, though, she's going to get tired of him because he is kind of a jerk. So.
There's no other options. Unless she goes for an alien.
I wonder how old that woman's son is now. Maybe 30
Too old.
something? 40?
Too old.
Yeah, too old.
She's 16.
She's real young.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And she looks it. I was watching, I was like, I was thinking
it.
she was too young for Everett. I was like, how old is he? And then I was looking at her, and then I was like, she can't be more than 16. And then she's, immediately after I thought that, she said, I was like, oh, nailed it.
But I mean, he was like a student at the high school, right?
Maybe.
I guess it was hard to tell.
Maybe he could have, at most, maybe just graduated, fingers crossed.
Yeah, either way, I don't think he's like crazy old or anything.
Yeah.
And then probably the other biggest scare for me was at the very end when it was like the wind started swirling around them and I was like, wait, and then it cuts to black and I was like, oh, please, and then no.
Then it goes to the school empty and you're like, what's happening to our main characters?
And all my fears were realized. Yeah. And everything terrible that I didn't want to happen had just occurred.
Gone. Oh, that was a sad ending.
They should make a series out of this called Everett and Faye Go to Space. Laughs? Some good laughs.
I mean, yeah, they were funny. They were like
funny.
Cute, like witty pair.
Yes.
A
lot of good like idioms being used.
Oh my
we're
gosh.
enjoying.
Don't razz my berries.
Brace your vein before you razz those berries.
I know. Gotta brace the brain. Oy, oy, oy.
You double dealing double dog.
What if it was just like someone just wanted to make this movie because they just heard all these things? They're like, I need to make a period piece movie and put these in there. And I was like,
Honestly, that sounds like something I would end up making myself.
they're just sitting there on the couch watching Super 8, and they're like, then they start looking up 50s idioms and stuff, and they're like, we can make a movie about aliens and put this in there.
They're pretty great. They're so funny. I loved it. And now I'm pretty sure that from here on out, when Amanda and I talk about recording, we're going to be like, oh, time to make some biscuits.
Yeah. They would have been a cute pair.
I love with the, like, everyone having phones in the future, and she's like, and then if they don't answer their phone, you know that they're dead.
I mean, basically. I don't get a response from a friend within, like, a day. I'm like, well, must be dead.
Oh, mine's much more internalized. I'm like, oh, they don't love me anymore.
Well, I'm just like, they have to be dead because they clearly could not stop loving me.
Sag moon, guys. Oh my gosh, I did love when she was like, maybe we're thinking about different wars.
Because I knew as soon as she said bacon, I was like, she means breaker.
Yeah, it was so cute though. Oh my gosh, I also love when he thought that the guy was being too boring, and so he was like, oh, it's broken, sorry about that, Faye. And they walk off, he's like, it's not broken, we can't waste tape on people like that.
I know, she was like, yep, you scared me so bad.
Oh man, which that had to be my favorite, like, funny part for me was them, like, arguing in the car real quick. She was like, should I have brought my recorder? And he's like, no, yours is fine, but it's really more of a toy. And he's like, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. And she's like, you didn't hurt my feelings. And he's like, because I tend to hurt girls' feelings. And she's like, maybe it's because you're being a jerk all the time. And he's like, what did he say? It was like another weird idiom where he was like, you're on a stick with me tonight.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Oh my gosh, I also loved when they were freaking out after the blackout, and then he's like, 7:45, write that down, and she's like, she's recording. I do love to. He was just like, oh yeah. Oh man, I also love when she was like, why do you change your voice like that? Like such a weird time.
So good, yeah.
But very realistic, because people be weird and arguing at weird times. Her just running all the time.
Just running. He's jingling the car keys, going over to the car, and she just bolts. And he's like, what?
He has to keep chasing her down. Chases her down to that friend's house, walks in, her friend's like, is that ever?
Oh my gosh, so good. And then he proves himself to being a jerk at hurting girls' feelings because he's like, I'm not looking and I wouldn't care to see you in your nightgown anyway to her friend. And she
genuinely just rude for no reason.
And then she's like, rude.
I know. Also, guys, something about us watching this movie has made Amanda speak in a southern accent all afternoon, and it's very funny.
It's just what happens when I just like absorb them when they're in their talking accents. Same hands. Watching The Walking Dead, that should be no surprise to you.
Yes. Oh, it's been too long since we watched Walking Dead.
Carl!
Every time I meet someone named Carl. Same as when I meet someone named Greg, and I'm like, I'm all Greg. Every time.
I mean, yeah.
Those names are ruined.
That's what you get.
Those names are not for people now.
Yeah, no, they're not people names.
No. Least favorite parts. I'm pretty sure we have the same one.
Yeah, my least favorite part is he's doing the first radio interview with this guy who's in the military, had first heard the sound when he was doing military service. They'd take him on these like secret missions and stuff, black ops sort of thing, like they were not to talk about or anything. But what I hated, it was like well written, but what I hated was it would just cut to black.
Yes.
The whole time he was talking, and he talked for several minutes. Black screen, and I'm just irritated because I'm like, this is a visual medium. I don't know, I just was thinking of ways they could have done it. They could have kept him in silhouette, kept that anonymous feel, or if they just wanted to like really give you that radio vibe, they could have shown just the people listening to him over the phone. This show would make a perfect story, like fictional podcast thing. Because I've like listened to several of those, and they're like great. And the whole format of this movie would have worked perfectly for that, because you could just play it like they were just running around with their recorder on the whole time.
Yes. That
would have been amazing. But this is a movie, a motion picture, so I want pictures, okay?
You sound so southern, it's crazy. So I want pictures, okay? I'm dead. This DP was doing a lot, and usually when a DP is trying to do too much, I'm usually not a fan. These shots didn't necessarily bug me, though. I did think it was like an interesting choice to have us following behind the people at first. And there were like points when we were watching this where I was like, this is almost like AR in a movie. Like it's like as if we're supposed to really feel like as if we're there and like part of it.
It's giving you a very first person perspective.
Yeah, so I didn't hate it, because usually what I hate about when DPs be active wild is that it triggers my motion sickness, and this one wasn't too bad for that, although it did take me up to the line a couple times where I was like, oh, but it didn't go over the line anymore. Honestly, I think that probably my least favorite part was just the end.
I did not like the end.
I liked these characters.
I'm not a fan of a sad ending.
Yeah.
And especially not when you've created endearing characters.
Yeah. I wanted to see them date and have it be a mistake. Man.
Just see the spaceships and be like, wow, this is a beautiful, amazing thing.
Yeah.
And then
they can be all trauma bonded.
Yeah. And be together forever.
Exactly. Or, until Faye finds someone better.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I like Everett, but he's got to grow up.
He does.
Yeah, so that was just sad. Like, when they came back and it was just the recorder on the ground, I was like, no.
Especially when that sad old lady from earlier was like, who had talked about her son going missing and because of the aliens, was like, I want to go to the ship, take me there. And they're like, ship?
I know.
We're just tracking down a sound.
And poor Maddie, just such a little tiny baby. Which it was also funny because, like, as we were watching, kept, like, feeling for opposite ends where Miranda was like, she's running, carrying around this big old 1-year-old, and I was like, that poor little 1-year-old wants to be asleep in bed, having to run through these woods.
I know, but she was a small little 16-year-old, and that baby was big compared to her.
Yeah. And also just ridiculous when her cousin was like, oh yeah, I was up on the roof at the house. There is 0% chance that you were up on the roof of that house and you did not hear Faye come running down the street, run all through that house, and take that baby out. 0%
You didn't
chance.
respond to her screaming your name?
Yeah, that you wouldn't have waved down and been like, I'm up here. What were our favorite parts?
He's like showing her the recorder and everything, and it's like, well, tell me your stories. And then she just like full on nerds out on these like the possibilities for the future and technology and things like that. I don't know, it's just cute to show that in the 50s girls were into other things other than like boys.
Yes.
And cheerleading, where she was like reading these like scientific magazines and things like that.
Yeah, agreed. I really did like the part when they when they got out of the scary car where they almost died because the people went into that creepy trance, and then they like ran through the woods, and then she was just like falls to her knees and is crying holding her sister, and he like kneeled down and was like trying to comfort her.
Yeah, that was
sweet.
cute.
Oh, they're gonna be like a little family up in space, basically.
That's assuming that the aliens let them live.
I know. Well, I have to assume that, Amanda. I can't assume any different. My heart already hurts just for the old woman who doesn't get to see her son.
I know.
And for the mother who's coming home to no daughters.
I know.
You go to work, you have 2 daughters.
So do you think it's just like they get to just go to the alien planet and live like normal lives, or it's like a zoo situation?
I mean, I'm hoping that the aliens just keep them for a little bit and then return them unscathed.
I'm sure that's what happens, even though that lady was like, my son was 9 when he got abducted and I haven't seen him since, and I'm about 1,000,000 years old.
Classic alien scenario. They come, they take you for a little bit, nothing bad happens, and then you come back.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, every time.
What did we think of the plot quality?
I mean, it was good. It was very much like an episode of The Twilight Zone with how the movie opens. It's an actual like show in the 50s on TV, because it like has several instances where it cuts to like we're watching things on like an old tube TV kind of style.
Which was interesting.
I wasn't a super big fan of that, but that's like a great way to start.
Yeah, I would say that there were some parts when I thought it was maybe a little bit much on exposition, but not too bad. Overall, honestly, I just liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
In between everything that was going on, had good character development, especially if you're going to be like so exposition heavy, like other people coming in and telling their stories and being like, it's aliens, this is what it was like.
Yeah, no, I genuinely really did like this one. Honestly, if it had ended different, I would go even higher than this.
Okay.
But that ending brought it down a fair bit.
breaks
Probably
my
took
heart.
off an entire like half point.
I'm thinking about Haunting of Hill House and how like Mike Flanagan had written this horrible ending and he was like, I can't. I'm in love with these characters. They can't have a sad ending.
Yeah. So I will say that it razzed 4.2 of my berries.
Oh.
Yeah, I really did like it.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more than a 4. It probably would have been a 4.6 had my characters not been taken away.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that it razzed 4 of my berries.
Fair.
I hate a sad ending, and I don't really like super ambiguous endings. Like,
Yes.
I'm not here to think. Okay? I do too much thinking all the time. Just tell me how you want it to end, and we're gonna be. I don't need to be thinking about it later. I got enough problems.
Guys, stay tuned in this season too, because we are planning to close out season 5 with a trip to Withville, Virginia, which has its own spooky, cool alien story behind it. So make sure that you tune in to the season 5 finale. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. See you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 70 days till Halloween. Bye.
Bye. Her and her switchboard operator friend decide to investigate.
Yep.
Oh no, her and her radio DJ friend decide to investigate.
I was listening.
Something we're so good at.
Yeah, always. I'm never like distracted trying to do other things at the same time. The pupper's gonna do what the pupper's gonna do.
Pepper, walk away from the door now. I'm walking toward it.
He's like, be back in 2 minutes, guys. Don't get comfortable. With a trip to Withville? With a trip